Welcome to the walkthrough of the New Testament. 400 years of silence. From Malachi to Matthew, the powers of the time, Greece, who had the common language, Israel, that had the common hopes, and Rome, that had the common roads. The politics of the time were the Sanhedrins, the scribes who copied the law, the Sadducees who did not believe in the resurrection, the Pharisees who obeyed the law, the publicans who collected the taxes, and the zealots who would kill for the Messiah. The Gospels give us 4 distinct views, but one good news. 4 to 5 BC, in Bethlehem, Jesus was born. In Nazareth, Jesus learned to be a carpenter. AD 26, Jesus was baptized by John in the Jordan River. Jesus removed to the wilderness where he was tempted by Satan. His first miracle was in Cana, where he turned water into wine. In Jerusalem, he told Nicodemus of the second birth. In Samaria, he approached the woman at the well. Back in Nazareth, he faced rejection. He moved to Capernaum, where he selected the 12 apostles and preached the Sermon on the Mount. He demonstrated power over Satan. When disbelief set in, the parable started. A storm was stilled. A crowd was filled. Jesus walked on water. The testimony of Peter, the transfiguration, and back to Jerusalem. Stones flew. Jesus withdrew to Perea, where he preached, counting the cost and seeking the lost. Back in Judea, Lazarus was raised and Zacchaeus was praised. In AD 30 in Jerusalem, Jesus made the triumphal entry, the temple cleansing, and the Last Supper with his disciples. In the garden, Jesus prayed, was betrayed, and tried by the Jews, denied by Peter, crucified by the Romans, resurrected by God, ascended after 40 days. The Spirit descended at Pentecost. Peter and John cure a lame man. Ananias and Sapphira are caught in embezzlement. 7 deacons are chosen, including Stephen, who faced persecution. Paul's conversion on the road to Damascus. Peter's vision at Caesarea. Peter in jail experiences a night release. James is martyred. AD 46, Paul's first missionary journey lasted 2 years and was mainly in the region of Galatia, Greece, and Achaia. In AD 48, the apostles gathered in Jerusalem and met in a council. Did the Gentiles have to follow the law? No. Matthew wrote a gospel, James wrote a letter, and Paul wrote to the Galatians. AD 49, Paul's second missionary journey lasted 3 years and was mainly in the regions of Macedonia, Greece, and Achaia. Paul wrote 2 letters to the Thessalonians. Paul's third missionary journey, AD 53, lasted 4 years and was mainly in the region of Asia. Paul wrote to the Corinthians twice and to the Romans. AD 58, back in Jerusalem, 2 years in prison, and Paul faced 3 trials before Felix, Festus, and Agrippa. Luke wrote a gospel and the book of Acts. Paul's first Roman imprisonment, Paul wrote the prison epistles, Ephesians, Colossians, Philemon, and Philippians. AD 62 ended in his freedom. Paul wrote the pastoral epistles, Titus and 1 Timothy. AD 64, Rome was burned. Paul's second Roman imprisonment, Paul wrote the final letter to Timothy in AD 68, ended with Paul being martyred. Peter wrote 2 letters and helped Mark write a gospel. Hebrews and Jude were written at this time as well. Peter was martyred. AD 70, the fall of Jerusalem. Later, John wrote the 4th gospel and 3 letters. In AD 95, he was exiled on Patmos, where he received the revelation of Jesus Christ.